So imagine this. You take your Jeep Gladiator, Dodge Charger, Challenger, any car to the dealership to get warranty work done, and the mechanic, after fixing it, takes it on a test drive, which they do, and totals your car. What happens in that situation? Well, in this scenario, I have a subscriber that shared their story with me, and there's a lot of nuances in this situation, but I felt like this video could actually help some people out there. Not just in situations where a dealership damages or totals your car, but also in any accident situation that you may be confronted in. Because my daughter recently got rear-ended by a freaking Peterbilt, a monster semi dump truck on the freeway, and thank the Lord that she was okay. But nonetheless, in bumper-to-bumper traffic, drives into the back of her car and then plays games on the side of the road. After we get them off of the road, I was able to get there like in short order and get them off of the road and into a parking lot where the driver of the semi-truck suddenly didn't want to talk, provide insurance, and wanted to play games, ultimately leading to a ridiculous case of he said, she said, and not wanting to take responsibility. And in that situation, I learned a lot. Now, sadly, over the last 30 years that I've been out there being an adult, I've had accidents, both my fault and others' fault, and I've learned a lot about these situations. Well, when a dealership's involved, it's no different. And I'm going to share this story with you all. Let me go to my screen. And here's the story. And I just want y'all to put yourself in this guy's shoes. And yeah, I'm going to put the dealership in here. I mean, I'll say alleged, but nonetheless, I'm not going to bash the dealership because in this circumstance, any of us could be in the same situation. Accidents happen. So here's the story. In 2020, I bought a brand new Jeep Gladiator. Over the years, it's had its share of problems, but through the warranty, it was covered. As most Wrangler and Gladiator owners, I added modifications, many of us do, such as bigger tires, rims, heavy-duty bumper, and which radio, speakers. Recently, I had an engine computer problem and took it into the dealership at Cdjr in Monrovia to get it fixed. I had purchased the extended warranty and the electronic system was included. The next day, I got a call from the service manager. He told me that the mechanic took it for a test drive and got into an accident. They had it towed to their auto body shop and it was declared totaled because of frame damage. On a side note, I had a camera system installed which provided video towards the front interior and the back of the vehicle. However, the mechanic disconnected it. I was told it was disconnected to maintain trade secrets, quote, in the mechanic's bay, unquote. But they didn't know that I had a GPS unit under the hood. I pulled the information from the GPS. It shows the route and speed that the mechanic took during the test drive based on the information and damage that was sustained. An average person would agree that the mechanic was speeding at the time of the collision. I have been communicating with the dealership's insurance company. However, they are unwilling to compensate me for the vehicle as it was, even though I had an upgraded model with multiple manufacturers' options. They are only willing to pay fair market value, insurance companies call it actual cash value, of a base model. In the adjuster's words, we don't have to replace your vehicle or your truck. In short, I in good faith took my vehicle for service. A Cdjr employee disconnected the camera system and drove the vehicle at unsafe speed. He was involved in a traffic collision, and now I have to pay for their actions. Now I ask you, do your followers really want to purchase a vehicle from that dealership? Well, you're going to be surprised at my answer, everybody, which I didn't want to share his information because I'm not going to bash the dealership. Here's the deal. How I kind of roll in my life is accidents happen. People make mistakes. That doesn't make them criminals or bad people. They make a mistake. It was an honest mistake. Now, was the guy speeding? Maybe he was speeding. Do any of you speed? Have any of you ever sped? We don't know the whole story about the accident, who hit who. He could have been T-boned in an intersection where somebody ran a red light, which speeding may make it a percentage of his fault, but not fully his fault if somebody else blew a light. There's so many circumstances we don't know about. What I do know is because this gentleman was not driving the car, was not in the car, or even in the freaking zip code probably, that there's no possible way it's his fault. So for sure, the dealership has to take responsibility. They had possession of the car. But now you've got a combination scenario where if somebody hit that Jeep and the insurance companies determined that it was the other guy's fault, then that's a whole new level of messiness you have to deal with. From my position, and what I'm going to share with you all is what do you do in this situation? And it's not a cut and dry, the dealership's bad, they need to just pay for my new Jeep and all my upgrades and everything else. That's why God invented insurance. So in the situation with my daughter's car, we knew it was a rear end collision. It was clear as day. It was the other lady's fault. But her insurance company, being a commercial insurance policy under Progressive, is not going to lay down and just throw money at us. They're going to come back and hit us slow, kind of like what this guy did. I, having some experience with this, knew that I pay for AAA gold insurance from USAA, and I pay for an additional 20%, which you can easily do if you're with USAA. And if you don't have USAA, here's an example: car replacement assistance, which pays you above and beyond actual car or cash value. Now, I knew that. Now, I had an option. I called my insurance company right away, and I said, here's the deal. We had an accident. How does this work? If I go through you, will you fix the car? Or do I play the game with her insurance company? And they said, you can play the game with her insurance company. This gentleman played the game with their insurance company, not his own. And if I played the game with their insurance company, I would be stuck in a situation where I am now fighting over payments because they're going to want me to have an adjuster come out and then do his own estimate and determine whether or not they agree with that estimate. And then cut my estimates down, fight with me about aftermarket. I'll put a picture of my daughter's car, highly modified, $1,500 street hunter wing on the back, a custom wrap on the back, a custom exhaust. I mean, all this stuff that was in question, whether it would be fixable or not, for sure, some of it could not be, would not be something that their insurance company is going to readily agree to pay. They're going to say, nope, we're going to fix your car. We're not fixing all the aftermarket stuff. And I knew that. And I knew right away, I have to go through my insurance company. I have $1,000 deductible, and I'm going to eat that. I'm going to take it to the shop that they tell me to take it to. That way I don't have to deal with adjusters or estimates or any of that crap. And I knew that the insurance or the body shop would not cover the aftermarket stuff. That would have to be handled separately with another shop to get the car rewrapped, to get the wing put on, and all that fun stuff. So knowing that, I'm going to let the structure of the car get fixed. And then I'm going to submit my estimate to my insurance company because my insurance company already determined that my daughter was not at fault. But guess what Progressive decided? Progressive decided, it's 50-50 because that lady lied and said there was a lane change involved. And the witness that we have said there was not. So we know that was not the case. There was no lane change involved. I even have the lady, because I'm a YouTuber, and I had the video saying nothing about a lane change afterwards and actually admitting that, well, the car was too low, I couldn't see it. Not that there was lane change. So I've got her dead to rights, but their insurance company still played the 50-50 fault thing because they need to protect themselves from us. They are not my insurance company. In this situation, this gentleman is beholden to the dealership's insurance company. Even this kid's insurance company, I would ask for his name since he was driving the car, and I would even submit a claim with his insurance company. Because the second he leaves that dealership, even if he's on the clock, there's some culpability and liability there, at least that I can extend to him. So in this case, I will also want to address the disconnecting the dash cam. 100% of the time, I get my cars back with those disconnected. Period. And it's their private property. They can determine whether they want filming on their private property. That's not something I get to dictate or force upon them. So they simply unplug the cigarette lighter plug or unplug the plug behind it. I can't say anything about that. Now, would I want somebody videoing me every day I was at work if I was a mechanic? No. Me cussing and, hitting my head on the hood and all. No. So they've pretty much every dealership, regardless of the brand, has a practice where they pull the trade secrets card, but it's as simple. You can't video on their property without their permission. It's not allowed. It's not a First Amendment thing. It's their property. They can control what happens there. So they disconnected it. Doesn't mean the guy was going to go out and do something crazy. But where this client or this individual got himself in a pickle is he went and trusted their insurance company to handle it. Now, I would have immediately said, no, I'm going to let my insurance company handle it. Because here's how that works. My insurance company is going to take care of me under my policy at a no-fault accident. I have to pay my deductible. And then they are going to subrogate to pursue the other client's insurance company. And they have mediation processes they go through. It's their job. They're all getting paid to do it. It's very different than the disruption I have to have in my life. And what this gentleman should have done is immediately called his own insurance company and said, listen, I want you to cover my car, all my upgrades, everything. And 90% chance his insurance company, yes, they're going to give him actual cash value. But when you make a demand to your own insurance company, and I'm not a lawyer here, but most of the time they're going to come back and say, well, you've got estimates on what it would cost to replace that stuff. We need to give you that. Another good example of that is I had a BMW when I was 22 years old that caught on fire. And it was because of an electrical alarm system I had put in aftermarket. And it caught on fire 33 days after I owned it. And I ended up burning my hand trying to put the fire out because I loved that car. I wanted to stop that car from burning. And in the end, the insurance company totaled the car. Too much damage was done to it. And as I went into the State Farm office to get my final check for the end of the deal when they decided it's totaled, I had made a comment that my shoes were damaged from the melting of plastic underneath the dash, and along with my suit and my business suit. And the lady said, well, give us receipts or fill out this form. Tell us how much your shoes cost and how much your pants cost. And we will certainly cut you a check right now for those. And I said, well, man, my shoes are $500. She says, no problem. I said, I meant one shoe was $500. I need two shoes. I'm kidding. But nonetheless, I quoted a number and she says, okay, fill this out. Quoted a number for the pants. I walked out of there with another $800 check. It was my insurance company. I pay for them to handle things. I showed her my shoes that I still had on with some melted plastic on the front of them a month later because I was wearing it as a badge of survival through that nightmare. You got to go through your own insurance company. Now, the thing is, I had to pay my deductible. Had he went through his own insurance company, most likely, depending on the insurance company, they're going to say, we got this. If you want us to handle it, you're going to have to pay your deductible. Take the car to our shop that's already certified with them. Like USA works with, for example, Fix Auto. They said, if you take it there, they could start the repairs tomorrow. If he took it there and they determined right then and there that it's totaled, his insurance company determined that it was totaled, they're going to have to pay him. And he's going to have a much better chance of recouping that money because they know that they're going to be able to subrogate and go fight and get that money back. So in this situation, should the Cdjr dealership pay him for all that stuff? Certainly. But once they hand things over to their insurance company, no dealership's going to be in the game of saying, okay, well, your wheels and tires are $4,000. We're going to give you an extra $4,000. They want you to fight it out with the insurance companies. It's just the way it is, and it sucks because it was an accident. It wasn't an on purpose. And that's what I wanted to share with everybody is when you do have a fender bender or somebody totals your car, crashes your car, go directly to your insurance company first and ask for guidance and direction. In our case, we got hit with a not at fault determination by our insurance company, and they paid that. And they told me, they assured me my insurance rates were not going to go back up. I'm out $1,000 for the deductible, but they paid for the $6,000 in damage to the car and got it repaired. And then the additional $6,000 for the wing, the repair, and the wrap, and everything else. And then when there was medical issues, we went back and she had some whiplash, and the other guy's insurance company made us an offer to try to put the thing to rest and paid us another couple $1,000s to cover our deductibles when we sent her to the doctor and stuff. So there's ways of handling this that are way better. The other advice that I gave this gentleman was what you can do, and if this happened to you and you didn't get a chance to put it through your insurance company, or you, for some reason, have to go through theirs, if they're not going to pay you for the whole value of your car or the repairs or the aftermarket stuff you put on the car, then you can go to small claims court. In most places, it's like a $10,000 limit. And if all that stuff's going to cost less than $10,000 to replace, then sue them for that laundry list of things in small claims. It'll cost you $100, $200 to get that small claims lawsuit filed. You're going to name the dealership, and you're going to name the person that was driving the car personally. And if there's another party involved that hit that car, you're going to name them. And you're going to drag them all into court. But here's how this very well would likely go, is the second you file that small claims lawsuit, they're going to take that subpoena, that dealership, and they're going to submit it to their insurance company and say, I can't win this. When I go to small claims, I can't win this. He wasn't even in the car. Can't even blame it on him. I can't win this because he's got receipts for the stuff that he lost. It's real stuff. It's not fake stuff. And the judge isn't going to like the dealership. The judge is going to like that the dealership wrecked some guy's car and isn't voluntarily solving it. A couple things might happen. The dealership might call up and say, we can't win this thing. We're going to cut you a check for the $3,800 for your stuff. And then your problem's solved. Or they're going to submit that subpoena and demand to their insurance company and demand that their insurance company steps up and pays you off, in which case they're out of the thing. And if they don't, there's, and I'm not a lawyer, but there's things called hammer clauses, specific performance, bad faith that insurance companies don't want to have to fight with. And considering these guys are at fault, that insurance company doesn't get their money back because guess what? The other guy's insurance company, the dealership's insurance company, since they got to pay for something where they are at fault, they are going to raise the rates on them. You get that? They have a way of getting their money back from them, which is why they're just going to go, fine, we're going to pay it, but we're going to take it out of your hide later on. So this is just my personal experience. I mean, if I'm wrong about any of this, tell me, but we literally just lived it. Just lived it. Make sure you have the best insurance you can get. Don't cheap out on insurance. Don't go to those weird 1-800 numbers or those weird websites and get the cheapest insurance. Get great insurance. To USA's credit, they made us whole all the way through. And then I knew on the back end, I need to beat up Progressive a little bit to get paid back for my daughter's, there's a fixed auto invoice and the medical bills. I need to get that back. And I worked that out myself because I am self-admittedly a shark when it comes to somebody owing me money. And you know what I also said? Had the lady jumped out of that truck and said, oh my God, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry I hit your daughter's car. Things could have gone a lot differently. I would have let her insurance company handle it and stuff like that. But in this case, her attitude made me know that this was going to be a fight. And I'm glad I followed my gut because her insurance company's only job is to protect themselves, and take her side of the story. And they took her side of the story, no matter how stupid and ridiculous it was. And I expect our insurance company is going to hold them responsible and prove that she was at fault. But in this situation, I don't want to roast the dealership. It'd be nice if they just cut a check for all the guy's stuff. But we're at the whim of all these insurance companies. And by the way, if anybody's ever shocked that an insurance company tries to screw you out of money, or tries to screw you out of a settlement, or tries to screw you on the first offer, then you're living in the twilight zone. This is what they do. So you got to be ready to fight. And he can go back and fight with that adjuster, but the adjuster's already given him attitude and saying, oh, it's not our job to replace your truck and your stuff or whatever. Second I hear that, I'm going to my insurance company, I'm getting small claims fired up, and I'm dragging everybody's ass into court. And I'm going to show up there and barbecue them. But I can guarantee you the second I file, everybody's going to start dancing because it's a case they cannot win. So with that, everybody, let me know what you think about this in the comment section below. Hopefully this helps somebody out there dealing with this kind of thing. And I will see you all in the next one. Hopefully by then my voice is 100% back because this is dragging out. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.